We would like to thank Professor Newton and all of you guys for inviting us to your department seminar. As you guys might know, we're going to present our preliminary findings on a research project aimed to examine the relationship between mission statements and performance in research and innovation-oriented organizations worldwide. This project is being conducted with two colleagues of mine. Please, Jesús and Diego, introduce yourselves.
Hello, greetings. I am Jesús Godoy. I am associate professor at the Universidad de Ibagué. I am pleasure to share time with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Diego Téllez. I am currently professor at the School of Economics and Finance at EAFIT University here in Colombia.
Awesome.
Well, beginning with the central topic, the research agenda on the relationship between mission statements and organizational performance has been prolific over the last 30 years. Instead of presenting a research background, we would like to present a summary based on our most recent work in progress. We see this talk as a spark for motivation and discussion in the context of your own strategic planning process. As you might have experienced, strategic planning activities are costly. Such activities will demand between 4 to 6 months and will cost an estimate of $1.2 billion to multinational corporations such as Ford Motors. This scenario is a clear example. Here we are, maybe over a dozen assistants, associated full professor, and administrative staff gathering for 1 hour as a part of strategic planning processes at your university. Okay, to any strategic planning, the backbone is the development of the mission statement. Therefore, in the upcoming sections, we're going to take a look at the purpose of mission statement. In other words, what it has to communicate to people within the organization and the environment, meaning their clients, suppliers, accreditation agencies, public entities, future students, among others. Then we're going to present the preliminary findings of our project. Among the research questions that we are addressing are the following. Are there any differences in the mission statement adoption between geographical regions and economic sectors? And what are the most used key terms and concepts? As a final point, we will present a few remarks on the relationship between the content of mission statements and organizational performance. The performance was framed in research and innovation outcomes, such as articles and patents granted in several organizations worldwide. I think that it is essential to mind that the organizations that compose the ranking that Jesus and Diego are going to describe in a moment are organizations that have published at least 100 documents in the bibliographic data database Scopus. Let's begin with the mission statement purpose. We can summarize it in 4 components. First, the organization's values. In other words, the organization's beliefs. As we will see, some mission statements aimed for benevolence or the common good. Other type of mission statements are moved to reach worldwide power and influence. Then we have standards and behaviors. For instance, some organizations might state policies related to being carbon neutral. Moving on to strategy. In other words, how the organization will achieve its purpose. For instance, if your department's mission statement is permeated by universalism, meaning understanding, appreciation, tolerance, and protection for all people's welfare and for nature, one of the strategies could be to promote open science programs. And fourth, the organization's purpose, why it exists. For instance, let's try to imagine how the school, the university, or even the field will be without your department's existence and contributions. I have prepared a brief exercise right now, so let's take a look at a few concrete mission statements examples. I will present a few mission statements, and I would like to Professor Newton or anyone else in the audience try to guess which organization or at least to which economic sector the following mission statement is referring to. Okay. I'm going to read it out loud. We co-create everlasting win-win relationships between our stakeholders and lifelong multidimensional learning and human talent market for exponential value creation to humanity's way of life. Let's hear a couple of interventions regarding that particular mission statement, to which organization or economic sector it's referring to. Okay, so the floor is open. You guys can just turn your mics and try to guess to which organization or to which economic sector are we talking about right here?
Is it a private university?
Maybe a private university. Okay. Anyone else?
I have no idea.
Anyone would like to jump in and just make a guess about to which organization are we referring?
Is it someone, is it a consulting firm that does training?
Yes, I think that's the most accurate guessing that we have so far. Actually, this particular mission statement was fictional. I just made it up. The point here was to show you a fictional mission statement of a temporal agency. This is a clear example of a mission statement filled with grandiloquent terms, lower readability, and empty concepts such as exponential value creation. Now, let's take a look at another one mission statement. This is quite famous. To organize world's information and make it universally accessible and useful.
It's got to be Wikipedia.
Wikipedia, okay. That's
Google?
Yes, that's correct. It's spot on.
Yeah.
That's Google mission statement. And the last one, I think that you guys will be quite familiar to this final example right here. To seek fundamental knowledge about the nature and behavior of living systems and the application of that knowledge to enhance health, length of life, and reduce illness and disability. That's correct. Defan Chen was so spot on regarding the two last mission statement. That's the NAH mission statement. Now let's try to analyze the examples that we have so far. In the case of Google's, it is quite clear their mission statement, purpose, and strategy. They don't mention their values nor standards quite explicitly. Bottom line, if they say that their purpose is to organize the world's information and they do this through a strategy that involves an undetermined amount of resources at the point that the organization can deliver such amount of information in a useful way covering the globe, we can point out that with confidence that their values are not framed within conformity nor tradition. The NAH mission statement is quite different. Their values seems to be related to universalism, security by promoting safety in using their knowledge that they are supporting, achievement by demonstrating competence according to social standards, and self-direction by creating and exploring. Its standards are guided by promoting health and life quality and reducing suffering. And it also wants to do all the above by understanding and crystallizing knowledge about the nature and behavior of living systems. Now we're going to listen to Jesús, that Jesús are going to explain the forthcoming sections of this presentation. Please, Jesús, go on.
Thank you. Well, where is the data from for our research? Well, we use the SIMAGO institutional ranking as a research innovation-oriented organizations baseline. Recall that the ranking is composed of 3 measures of performance. First, the research performance. Second, the innovation output. And third, the societal impact. The first refers to the international collaboration, normalized impact, high quality publications, excellence, scientific leadership, excellence with leaderships, and scientific talent pool. The second refers to the number of patent applications, innovative knowledge or publications cited in patents, and technological impact or percentage of a scientific publication output cited in patents. Finally, the third refers the societal impact refers to the website and inbound links to the institution. This is the main variable in our study. Well, we start the analysis with 5,000 organizations listed in that ranking in 2014, which presented in their mission statements in English, Spanish, French, Portuguese, and other language. When we restricted the sample to the English language due to the automated analysis restriction, we were able to analyze around 2,800 mission statements. The table in the slide shows the composition. The sample includes 5 subsets: government, higher education, health, private, and a group that collects companies in other sectors. Although the sample included an extensive variety of institutions around the world, almost 60% of the sample are missions of higher education institutions or universities, which are mainly located in Asia, Europe, and North America. Our sample also includes a significant sample of organizations in the government and health sectors. With that distribution, we guess that our study provides findings that are strongly representative of the mission of those types of organizations in 3 regions. What are some interesting findings with that sample? The figure in the slide shows a scatter plot with the resultant principal component analysis of a random subsample of 326 mission statements. In this plot, the X and Y components explain around 78% of the variance in the sample, which is segmented in 3 groups. We plot the top 30 key terms, where the size of the circle is proportional to the relative frequency. Comparing this exploration with the 6 key mission statement components proposed by Pearson David, the key terms near to the origin, near to the origin of coordinates in the XY space seems to be related to the principal product service, the market, and the technology. For example, terms such as service, technology, teaching, health. The terms.
Can I just quick ask a question on the pre-processing of the data? So you take the mission statement and then you convert it to a numerical vector of some kind? And that's what this Voyant tools is doing?
Téllez?
I'm just curious how the mission statements are just text, and then how does that get converted to numericals? How does it, I understand what the PCA is doing if it was given some numbers, but then I'm just not sure where what the encoding is basically of the.
We use this based this content analysis website that is called Voyant Tools. So we uploaded the text, and according to the relative frequency that those particular terms were.
It's word count frequencies. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's as Professor Newton was saying. No, we consider each text as a vector of words, as a back of words.
Oh, backwards. Okay.
Backwards vector. That's what it is.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Ready. The terms in the bottom right region seems the plot seems to be related to the components of organization philosophy, public image, and self-concept. For example, terms such as care, excellence, work, international. The last group, the third, refers to the market and stakeholders related components. For example, terms such as student, society. Those terms are dispersed at the bottom right region. In short, the figure suggests suggests that the sample reflects the organization's interests in the mission statements of organizations in the sample. This is an exploratory tool for our study. Well, which are some of those patterns? The figure in the slide presents the most common terms as the relative frequency of each sector. We have 8 sectors. We can find some of key results. First, the term research is a priority in all sectors except for the private. For the private sector, a priority is a word type of which influences or place in time through innovation and the development and distribution of products. This is the first. Second, for both governmental and higher education sectors, the term innovation was not a priority. Instead, it was the term knowledge. You can see that. A compelling case is the lack of explicit mention of terms related to individuals. A third relevant result, health, others, higher education, and private were the only sectors that mentioned individuals-related terms, either as people, students, community, and society, or patients. A fourth interesting result, similarities between health and higher education sectors were in line with the terms of education and learning, as expected. In fact, the term science was a priority only for governmental and other institutions, such as the Santa Fe Institute and Rand Corporation. This is interesting results about the terms in the mission. We also studied a plot for analyzing regions, but it didn't add more value at the analysis, so that plot is not included here. Well, although this is an progress work, we can highlight some findings. First, missions is a key and current relevant instrument to provide a strategic orientation. The mission statement crystallizes the ends and means of an organization. A good mission provides a focus for organizational action. Also, there are differences in the mission statements of private compared to higher education or health organizations. Private organizations are mainly oriented by shareholder motive, while universities and health organizations are oriented by social knowledge motives. Note that mission statements include the customers in the top 10. You can see in the previous slides. Note what are working in. We guess that the design of a mission statement responds to the features of the working environment of organizations. So the natural step in the analysis is to introduce a key dimension of the environment. We choose environmental complexity, an important concept, because a recent vein of research shows that complexity explains the economic growth and other dimensions of development at the macroeconomic level. That is, environmental complexity captures some dimension of the working environment of organization, network effects, competition, technological complementarities, and others. Our work in progress can be titled The Effects of Mission Statements, Content, and Economic Complexity on Innovation and Research Performance in Organizations. We have some preliminary findings. Here are some of them. To build a differentiated mission is a challenge for departments of universities. The accreditation promotes the standardization of process, which leads to organizational isomorphism. Universities should identify and highlight their skills in their mission statement. Second, a differentiated mission statement doesn't guarantee superior organizational performance. A mission statement that is straightforward and easy to understand, grammatically diverse, and with a defined tone, may be unproductive with no people. We guess that the people are the key superior organizational performance. The mission statements provide the focus. And finally, the environment matters. We hope to find the organizational mechanisms through which operate. Mission statement, we may be one of them. We will talk about about that in the near future. It's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
I have a question. Is it possible for a university department to develop a mission statement that is differentiated enough from the parent organization, such as the school level mission or the university's mission?
Diego, Jesús, do you want to jump in or?
You.
Go ahead, Julián.
Okay. Well, nice to meeting you. I think that when it comes to assemble a certain mission statement for a department, it's quite difficult to be differentiated. For instance, let's try to think about a mission statement for your department without terms such as research, such as knowledge, such as health. So I think that in departments that share a common knowledge body, they will try to reach the same key terms or similar key terms because they're in the same cognitive field, or either theoretical or methodological, or in a methodological method way, or instance, or regarding to tools for conducting research. And it's quite difficult to try to reach different terms that are not related to research or knowledge or scientific advancement and so on. So I think that's the main observation that I will have regarding the development of a mission statement that could be differentiated from a department to a certain department to other one.
Thank you.
And I would like to add briefly something Jesus said before about like isomorphism. So a very particular phenomenon we have found, especially in universities, for example, is that those accreditation programs, AACSB for business schools, for example, tend to create like a standard prototype of school. So and that is reflected in the end in the way they write their mission statements. So as Julián was saying, we tend to see common words such as research, such as I don't know, like students, or any of those terms that are common for all schools.
Thank you.
I had a question. So I was under the impression you have sort of taken a look at things like differences across different regions or continents in terms of sort of style or content or of different mission statements. Can you comment on any of that stuff?
One thing that we have found when we were studying the differences between the organizations that report publicly their mission statement and organizations that do not have any sort of mission statement or other type of description of their purpose, such as about us or or strategy, or about us, or what would be the other one, or plan, or purpose, and so on. When we contrast the differences in terms of performance between the organizations that have this sort of mission statement and the rest of them, is that as most of the organizations that we trace to Europe or Asia, they don't have mission statement. They don't have any mission statement. So what we think about that is that as the mission statement is a tool that was created in the States, and it has been quite a gap between the creation and the adoption of such type of tools for strategic planning in other regions, such as Europe and Asia.
So what are the differences between let's take universities in Europe versus universities in the United States? You have studied the differences, right? In the mission statements.
Maybe in the study that you have read about.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that there are several differences that now that we're talking about this. For instance, the States is quite characterized by institutions that are research focused. So the most common terms will be research on knowledge and so on. But when we look at, for instance, universities here in Latin America, there are a few universities that are research oriented. Here in Latin America, most of the universities are focused on teaching, okay, and maybe extension or services in the community level. So the mission statement here in Latin America will be more focused on learning or teaching or students than research or knowledge creation and so on, because of the path dependence of both type of environments in the States and in Latin America and the Caribbean. So there will be some differences between regions in terms of the mission statement content of universities.
Are there, I mean, how long are mission statements typically? We don't even know that.
Sorry?
How long are mission statements? Are they typically quite short?
Usually we have mission statements quite short. For instance, I remember a mission statement in Europe from an institution that just says technology for the people, and that's it. In other cases, we have like 4 paragraphs mission statement that are quite long. So I think that so far we haven't found like a prototype or a mission statement that will be a benchmark in order to, in terms of readability or in terms of diversity in their content. So far we haven't reached that type of conclusion. But in terms of readability, if the mission statement is short, and if the mission statement uses words that has less than 3 syllables, will be more readable. That particular mission statement will have more readability for intern use of the organization, and also their environments and their stakeholders to understand what the mission statement is about that particular organization. But we haven't reached a sort of benchmark mission statement so far. Mm-hmm.
So I have a question. This is Deb Gerke. I'm the consultant that Michael referenced earlier. One of your findings was that you said that the mission statement does not guarantee that it will be reflected in superior organizational performance. Did you look at any other elements of a high-performing organization, like workforce, climate and culture, or the leadership and decision-making processes of the organization, or their people practices, or any of that? Or were these just looking at the mission statements?
Jesús, Diego, would you like to?
Yeah, well, I would like to say about performance that it seems to be like a certain endogeneity in the relationship between mission statement declarations and performance. Actually, with Jesus, we were previously trying to work on a project in which, well, not trying, we did it finally, working on a project in which we were studying the relationship between those mission statement characteristics and some financial performance for a bunch of enterprises in Colombia. For that study we use structural equation modeling to deal with those endogeneity problems. And when and for the performance we used the return on assets, which is a very typical financial performance. And we decompose that ratio in two different parts. One part which is net margin, which is related to the capacity the firm has to generate operating profits with their assets. And the second part, which is one named asset turnover, which is efficiency, asset efficiency, how well they can like transform assets in sales. So what we finally found using structural equation modeling and decomposing this ratio was a positive effect in mission statements, considering mission statements as a verbal manifestation of the strategic planning of the organization. And more recently, with Julián, what we've been trying to find is that if there is a connection with, more specifically, with innovation. So briefly, I would say, personally, based on those two experiences, that it might be, there might be an effect of mission statements on performance or innovation or many other or any other variable, but what we think is that it is mediated by other factors, such as, for example, the environment in which the organization is immersed, or some cultural characteristics, or some other things. That's basically the experience we have about those things.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Julián and his colleagues? Okay, so this fourth 2,800 or so statements, then you do bag of words on it, and you so that do you have plans to go beyond bag of words, or is that?
Sorry, didn't understand.
Do you have plans to go beyond bag of words models? Like, I mean, the structure, the sentence structure, the aspirational nature versus the whole grammar of the thing must be quite interesting. But that's
yeah. So I would say that so far, just considering the size of the sample, we have around 5,000 organizations at first. Then we had 2,800 mission statements hand collected. No, we went one by one looking for every single one in every single web page. So I would say that so far the approach we have is that, as I said before, we are constructing document turn matrices. So we chunk the mission statements, we get the words, we do some typical cleaning in text analysis. Maybe you know that better than us. So we clean the document, we delete stop words, and then we just use some different natural language processing, such as, for example, estimating or calculating cosine similarities to see how much, for example, a mission statement can vary from another one, or maybe the average of the sector. We have also tried other techniques, such as, for example, sentiment analysis, to see, for example, how positive or how uncertain can a mission statement be. As Julian, for example, was mentioning before, we have measured readability. Maybe, yeah, a common critique would be that when you take a bag of words, maybe you might be losing some meaning in the complete structure. There are other techniques like such as, for example, studying more the narrative of the mission statement, not by words but by sentences. But honestly, it would be so far more complicated for us. I repeat, considering the size of the sample. So we might try it in the future, but so far I would say we just trying to approach this text with those cosine similarity, sentiment, readability, and all those things. Yeah, that's what we're doing so far.
Thanks. Okay, very interesting. Okay, we'll entertain any other questions for our speakers. Okay, it sounds like we've had our questions then. So we don't have a real custom in clapping online, but I want to just thank you very much for taking the time and sharing this interesting work with us. And it's a great way for us to start our own internal processes. We can see something about how other groups do it. So thank you very much. I will release everybody if you would like. Some maybe want to stay around, but the seminar is over at the moment. But if you'd like to stay for any other follow-up questions, please, I'll stay on the line for a little while. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for that.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you, Professor Newton, and thank you everyone for your invitation. And once again, we're very pleased to share with you these preliminary results. And actually, we're having to account those comments for improve the next stages for our project. Thank you very much again, and have a nice weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.